Okay, I think we're ready to get started. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Brims, Senior School Principal at St. Mildred's Lightbourne School. Thank you for joining us for tonight's course selection webinar. Tonight, I'm also joined by Ms. Nicole Bryant, Director of University Guidance at SMLS. With over 18 years of experience in independent schools, Ms. Bryant has been helping students at St. Mildred's attend their post-secondary program of choice for the past 4 years and looks forward to working closely with your daughter on this very important pursuit, which begins with course selection. So we'll give you a little bit of an overview of what we're going to cover this evening. Some of you are just entering high school beginning next year, so we're just going to briefly review what the schedule looks like, a little bit different than a middle school schedule. We'll go over the support provided by University Guidance, OSSD, Ontario Secondary School Diploma requirements, and some of the signature programming that complements our robust academic program. After that, we'll turn things over to Ms. Bryant, and she'll get into the nuts and bolts of the course selection process, take a look at compulsory credits, elective credits, and some other considerations that pertain to course selection. And then we'll just kind of finish things off with looking at a timeline and next steps. So this is just a quick glance at our high school schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday are the exact same every day, same timings. You'll notice that on Mondays and Fridays, we have something called academic support. So that's time for students to go and check in with teachers who are in their classrooms at the time if they have additional questions, are preparing for tests, have homework questions that they'd like a bit more support with. The only times where we don't have academic support are on days where we have an entire school chapel on a Monday, or if we have a grad chapel run by our grade 12 students on a Friday. Tuesday, we have our senior school chapels in the morning. And Wednesdays, we have Wellness Wednesday programming, as well as council meetings. So a little bit of a lighter academic load on Wednesdays. However, our Wellness Wednesday programming also provides academic support periods for students as well, should they choose to opt for those. So it's a nice cadence of flow through the day, some breaks in there for snack, lunch, and the like, but for about 75-minute on average periods of learning in a day. So University Guidance supports. Ms. Bryant provides personalized support and counseling for students related to course selection. It's wonderful that Ms. Bryant is up to speed on changing trends in education, the new changing landscape of admittance to university programs. She's a member of the Canadian Independent School Counselors Association, CISC, NACAC, National Association for College Admissions Counseling, as well as the International Association for College of Admissions Counseling. So you're getting excellent support here and excellent up-to-date information. Ms. Bryant also runs Focus Grad seminar programming for our grade 12 students, where they focus specifically on their university applications in the first 4 months of school in grade 12. This year, we've had webinars for Canadian and international university applications, primarily targeted towards grade 11 and 12 families. However, other families have attended in the past as well. There are recordings of those available, and those will happen again next year as well in the fall. We've also had a number of universities visit the school over the course of the school year so far. We had a Canadian university fair that parents were invited to attend on site with over 35 Canadian university representatives that visited the school. Just recently, we had several universities visit the school as well. University of Toronto, Richard Ivey School of Business, McMaster University, and University of King's College. And their reps gave more detailed presentations about some of the specific programs that are run at those universities. So lots going on at the school, lots of opportunities for students to begin thinking about their pathway planning. Community service, and we'll look at specific OSSD, Ontario Secondary School Diploma requirements in a second. But one of those requirements is completing 40 hours of community service throughout the duration of your high school career. So about 10 hours as a minimum a standard per year of high school. The Ministry of Education has just come out and provided a little bit of a boost to that. So students can now attain a bronze, silver, or gold standing for community service, which might be something that a student might want to consider depending on nature of who they are and the nature of a post-secondary program that they'd like to move into. But we'll talk about a little bit more about that in a second. Ms. Bryant helps students to locate to locate community service opportunities and to help ensure that that's all documented so that they can meet their graduation requirements. So looking at the OSSD requirements, there's 17 compulsory credits that students have to attain by the end of their high school career and a minimum of 13 elective credits, so 30 credits in total. Many of our students graduate with over 30 credits just by nature of the fact that some have done reach ahead credits in the past. All of our grade 8 students will have attained at least one reach ahead credit if they're coming through the SMLS middle school program. And others just opt to take more credits than they need due to interest and provide scope and depth and breadth to their academic experience at the school. We've talked a little bit about the 40 hours of community service. Additionally, about 3 years ago, the Ministry of Education came out with a policy program memorandum, PPM 167, indicating that for students to graduate from high school, 2 of their credits would have to be attained through online learning. So that is something that we do help students to attain should they wish to engage and attain learning through e-credits or online credits. That said, we also have the flexibility as an independent school to allow students and families to opt out of that type of learning environment. So if a student doesn't wish to learn online, that's not conducive to their learner profile, then we can have them indicate so, and we have parents sign off, and Ms. Bryant helps steward that process as well to make sure that the process is personalized for the student's best fit for learning. So a huge range of electives there. Those become more important really in moving into grade 10, 11, and 12. In grade 9, the options are a little bit more limited because you're going to be taking primarily compulsory credits in your first year of high school. So we could probably move on from there, Ms. Bryant, just to quickly look at the new Community Service Awards. These are new starting this year. So some of our grade 12 students currently would already fit in some of these ranges given the nature of and duration of community service hours that they've done. Again, it's not a requirement to have anything more than 40 hours. However, we strongly recommend students to explore a voluntary service, community service. It's a great way to add a little bit of real life experience to your high school experience. And it's becoming increasingly apparent to us that many competitive university programs are beginning to say that your marks should be the least impressive thing about you. So it's what else have you learned? How else have you engaged with the world around you? And what talents can you bring to our program? And voluntary service in a sector of work that might be akin to what you might study could certainly be very, very helpful to a student. The last thing I'll just touch on before passing things over to Ms. Bryant is our Global Citizenship Pathway. For students entering grade 9, all of our grade 9 students are encouraged to attend our trip to Camp Arrowhon, which is located in Algonquin Park. So they spend the first day getting up there and then learning essentially camping, canoeing skills. So how to unpack a tent and set up a tent, how to pack for cooking out on a canoe trip for several days, things of that nature. It's a fantastic experience for students to really build a little bit of resiliency, teamwork, working through a little bit of struggle, which becomes increasingly important as you advance through your high school years and indeed into life. It's a trip that I have attended several times myself. I try to go every year because it's a lot of fun. It's also a little bit of a challenge still for me at times, and it's a great way to get to know students in grade 9 and start to build strong relationships as a foundation as they begin their high school careers with us. It's great for the girls as well. They're able to really bond in a little bit of a more meaningful way as they spend 3 nights together in Algonquin Park. Grade 10. the global citizenship pathway moves into a discovery block, and there's various options for students to explore. The key element there is really explore and discover. Begin to think about what some things that you might like and might pique your interest before going into grade 11 and starting to specify a bit more on your electives and starting to think more clearly about what your pathway might be. This past year, we had students go to Iceland as well as Bahamas. Environmental conservation was a key sort of aspect of both of those trips. In Iceland, I think their reliance on geothermal power plants in harmony with the environment to produce energy is something that students explored. In the Bahamas, students dove into marine ecology, pun intended there, sustainable conch fishing practices and mangrove forest restoration. So very interesting trips with a conservation focus. Our local block students, so students who decided to not go abroad and stay here, had experiential learning activities at McMaster University at their planetarium, as well as the Native Canadian Centre of Toronto, and also visited the Little Canada exhibit. They work with Future Design School at the end, all of the grade 10 students, to make meaning of their learning over the discovery block and help to sort of illuminate some of the things that pique their interest and might help provide future direction for them moving forward. So great global citizenship programming there for our grade 9s and 10s. I won't speak too much about the 11s and the 12s because that's a couple of years ahead. But just to note, our professional internship, which is one of our prior flagship of our global citizenship pathway, where students actually go work at a co-op or a professional internship for a month with an employer that we help to match them with in an area of their interest. And then the grad experience at the end is really making sure students are well equipped for post-secondary, not just the academics are done and good luck in university, a little bit of a guidance on how to navigate a university ecosystem, things to be cognizant of, and a final grad trip at the end that is designed by the grads themselves. So lots going on in our high school, but we thought we'd make you aware of some of the programs that certainly complement our academic program and help form a well-rounded student as they prepare to go off to apply to and to go off to university. So with that said, I will pass things over to Ms. Bryant, who will get into more specific information around course selection.
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much. One thing we forgot to mention is that the Q&A is open. I know that there probably haven't been too many questions for Mr. Brims just yet, but as we continue into the webinar, some questions may come up. So Mr. Brims will be answering some questions while I'm presenting, and then I'll take over closer to the end as well. So feel free to populate any questions as they come in.
Thanks, Ms. Bryant. I will respond either in writing in the Q&A or perhaps verbally at the end if it's more appropriate for everybody to hear a response to a specific question. Thanks, Ms. Bryant.
Great. So the real foundation of my counseling is really getting to know your daughters and really understanding their strengths and their interests, and all of that really starts in grade 8. So if your daughter is in grade 9 and was new this year, we would have started with course selection prior to their arrival and continued into this year with our higher education programming. And if your daughter is in grade 8, we've had a couple of higher education meetings in November and December, and I've met with half of the MS8 classes today, and we'll continue that later in the week. And then we'll be having one-on-one conversations with them. But the reason I'm bringing that up is that what's also so important is their own self-reflection. And I think that that can be really challenging for some students, is thinking about themselves. But the more that they're doing this in grade 8 and grade 9, as they're selecting courses in a low stakes way, thinking ahead to what their interests are in a 1 year or a 2 year look ahead, not necessarily focusing on university or what their career could be, is really what I think is important, because it's otherwise you're seeing the forest for the trees, and it can get really overwhelming. And really, I think it's important that students come back to themselves and start trusting their voice and really building the capacity to build that confidence. I think it's really important that they're doing this now so that when they are applying to university, they've been thinking about themselves, their interests, and their strengths over a longer period of time rather than focusing on the external. So, for example, what I need to get into a particular program or particular university. And I'm not saying that those things aren't important, but I really want them to be motivated and connected to them in a very personal way. So, this is why self reflection in grade 8 and grade 9 is really just going to be what am I really liking about my courses? What have I perhaps not really loved? If I was given the opportunity to learn about anything, what would be the thing that I would want to learn from, and how could I connect that potentially to an academic source? So I also want them thinking, yes, about courses and how that could potentially align with their goals. But in grades 9 and 10, it's really about taste testing. It's looking at the buffet of options in front of them, which are a little more limited in grade 9 and extend in grade 10, but become really quite extensive in grade 11. Just starting to understand themselves, understand what options are in front of them, but also just trying some things in a very low stakes way. So, as much as it may be very easy for them to say, I don't know what I want to take, what should I take? As a parent myself, I can imagine it would be very easier as well to give lots of suggestions on pointers, but it really needs to be self-motivated so that they can feel confident and really build the capacity for listening to their own voices and really understanding their own interests. So when we get into the course selection, nuts and bolts, as Mr. Brims had noted, in grade 8 into 9, because of those compulsory courses that we noted, students are a little more limited on their electives. Students will automatically be enrolled in grade 9 English, grade 9 French, grade 9 Science, grade 9 Canadian Geography, and grade 9 Healthy Active Living, as those are 5 courses required at the grade 9 level for graduation. Now, students are, of course, required to also take math, and it's dependent on what math they are currently in as a grade 8 student. If they are with us in MS8 and taking the Reach Ahead math, then the grade 10 math would be open to them as a grade 9 student. However, if your daughter is currently in the grade 8 math, they would be starting their high school math journey as a grade 9 student. However, we have new this year an option for students to complete the Reach Ahead math if they are currently a grade 8 student taking grade 8 math, to do the MTH1W grade 9 math in the summer before they start grade 9. And therefore, they would be eligible to be taking grade 10 math next year with us as a grade 9 student. We have a partnership with the E-Learning Consortium of Canada. This is an organization which provides courses to our senior students, primarily in grades 11 and 12. And this is an online platform provided where we offer a teacher to teach courses, and other schools that are CASE accredited CIS Ontario schools offer courses that we partake in. We're taking advantage of the organization's platform. We found it really effective, and students have really enjoyed the platform during the regular school year. And we'll be utilizing that for summer 2026. Previously, we have offered careers in civics through our summer academy, and we are adding the Reach Ahead MTH 1W this year. And for all 3 of those courses, we'll be utilizing the ELCC platform. The course will run June 22nd to July 22nd. There are requirements for attendance in synchronous morning sessions, and then optional asynchronous office hours with the teacher in the afternoon. So a student would be logging into the platform, attending class for part of the morning, and then would have the option to be completing the asynchronous homework and independent work in the afternoon, or have the flexibility to do so at a time that is better suited for them. So the student is not required to attend in person, but has the flexibility to complete this from anywhere. Whether that be while they are at home or at a cottage. So there is nice flexibility for students. There is a cost associated with this, as noted here on our slide. It's really important that students be ready for the grade 10 coursework next year. So this is not necessarily an easier option. So it's really encouraged that students who are looking to take this would be strong grade 8 math students and would have been good candidates for Reach Ahead Math potentially this year as well. So if this is something that your daughter is interested in, it would be in consultation with me in our one-on-one meetings that we'll be having in the weeks to come. But also we would want to have in consultation with her current grade 8 teacher as well. If there are more questions, this is new and we're just launching this today to parents and students. We're happy to have further conversations in the weeks to come as to whether or not this would be a good option for your grade 8 daughter. Civics and Careers is one of those compulsory courses that Mr. Brims had noted, and students have the option of taking it with us asynchronously in their grade 9 year as one of their 2 electives. So students are automatically going to be in those 6 compulsory courses, and they will be selecting 2 electives. If a student wishes to take it with us in their grade 9 year, they would select that as one of their 2 electives. 2 years ago, we started with civics, and last year we introduced careers, and it has gone very well. Students have been very successful, and we will be rolling these courses out with the ELCC alongside the Reach Ahead Math this coming summer. Students can, as a grade 8 student entering their grade 9 year, take civics. The timeline is the same, June 22nd to July 22nd. However, there is no synchronous requirement. So students would be completing all work asynchronously. If your daughter is currently in grade 9 and took civics with our summer academy last year, this would have been through MySMLS. We are shifting to the ELCC Canvas platform. Your daughter would then be looking to take careers in summer 2026, again with a timeline of June 22nd to July 22nd, asynchronously. There is another option, which a few of our students currently in grade 9 have taken advantage of, and that is to take a regular 8 in-person course load and to add on top of their 8 courses the 9th course of careers in civics. Because the coursework is entirely asynchronous, students would be completing the coursework outside of regular time in their evenings and weekends. That would also be in consultation with the University Guidance Office to ensure that their coursework is not too heavy and that they can handle the course load. Note that students who are taking careers and or civics in the summer, there is an additional cost. However, students who take careers in civics in their grade 9 year would have that included as part of their tuition, so there is not an additional fee. So for our grade 8 students into grade 9, as noted, you have 6 compulsory credits and then 2 electives. I always tell students, start with first, which math will you be taking, and are you considering the new Reach Ahead Math for the summer? The second consideration is careers in civics. Will you be completing it in your grade 9 year? If so, that will be utilizing one of your electives. Or will you be taking it in the summer? The option as well for students with careers in civics is to push it into their grade 10 year. However, most students entering grade 10 want to have 3 electives. And so we'll usually want to see that completed by the time they're entering grade 10 rather than waiting, but it is an option for some students if that would be their preference. So once a student entering grade 9 has determined their math, as well as when they will be doing careers in civics, they can determine how many elective spaces they will have left. So we have 6 electives noted here. The first, launching and leading a business, colloquially known to our students as entrepreneurship, is really an introduction to the things an entrepreneur would learn about, a little bit of marketing, accounting, a little economics. But as a note, it is not required for students to be taking the entrepreneurship course in order to take business courses in grades 10, 11, or 12. So the BEP2O is not a prerequisite for any further study in business. The other courses here on the slide, however, are prerequisite courses for students taking courses in grades 10, 11, and 12. So drama, music, and visual arts, if your daughter is currently at SMLS, she will be completing the integrated arts credit. That's a grade 9 arts credit that will appear on her transcript, and that will satisfy the required grade 9 arts credit. So there is no requirement for current SMLS students to continue into the arts if they are not interested in pursuing that. For our new students, anyone joining us as a new grade 9 SMLS student will need to take a minimum of 1 arts credit at the grade 9 level, whether that be drama, music, or visual arts. As well, we also have 2 language offerings. So students will have to continue in French, but it is not a requirement for students entering into grade 10. So students may have the option of taking a level 1 Mandarin or level 1 Spanish if that's something that they're interested in trying out, something a little bit different. Just really quickly for our students who are currently in grade 9, we do have interest each year of students taking level 1 Mandarin or level 1 Spanish as they go into grade 10, and we absolutely will accommodate that as long as our schedule permits us to do so. So we will always have at least 1 student who's a grade ahead taking one of those 2 languages because they missed out on taking it and wanted to go back and do that. I always say after a student has figured out math and civics and careers, they should think about if they are interested in taking drama, music, art, or potentially another language moving into grade 10, because these are required for students if they are wanting to take them in grade 10. In certain circumstances, we can look at prerequisite waivers. If a student is a talented musician and would like to return to music, we may have some flexibility there. Or if they're involved in the school play or do art outside of the school, or if they're a native Mandarin or Spanish speaker, we may have flexibility, but students should not rely on that. So really understanding that some of these courses would be needed to be taken if they're interested in taking them as grade 10 students. Something I'm just going to note, whether your daughter is in grade 8 or in grade 9, if she is considering a US post-secondary pathway, many universities require or strongly encourage students to have a second language in at least 3 years of that one language. So you can't mix and match, unfortunately. But if a student is not particularly fond of French, but is considering applying to the US or is very serious applying to the US, they may consider looking at Mandarin or Spanish and then taking that all the way through to their grade 11 year. So a student who's considering the US would be looking to most likely take a second language all the way through to at least grade 11. For our current grade 9 students, compulsory credits, we have 5 compulsory credits. That's English, grade 10 science, grade 10 Canadian history, and grade 10 communications technology. And new as of last year was the requirement for all students to be taking a technology credit at the grade 9 or 10 level. So what we have done is we've rolled this into our grade 10 offerings. And so all grade 10 students are having this technology requirement completed in their grade 10 year. Rather than pushing it into the grade 9 year, we want to make sure that students have as much flexibility with electives as possible. And we found that it worked best in their grade 10 year. And when you look at the compulsory courses for grade 10, in addition to these four, we also have math. So if your daughter is currently in the grade 10 math, she would be taking grade 11 functions. And if she's currently in grade 9 math, she would be taking grade 10 mathematics. So any student who's considering pushing the careers in civics into their grade 10 year, you have to take into consideration how you may be limiting yourself with your electives moving into grade 10. Here we have those electives. As I said, students need to ensure that either as they come into grade 10 or in their grade 10 year, they are completing the required career studies and civics course, whether that be in the summer or in their grade 9 or 10 year. And then additionally, I just would like to note, with the exception of French, which is at the grade 10 level, all of these courses are at the grade 11 level. So grade 10 is a little bit of an academic jump, but a healthy one. So students have the option of now extending beyond some of your just languages and arts, but can also be looking at grade 11 economics, grade 11 computer science. We have drama, music, visual arts, our grade 10 French, level 2 Mandarin and Spanish, but students can reach back and take level 1 of those two courses if interested. And then we also have personal fitness. In previous years, we had offered the PPL 2O, which is a continuation of the physical education and healthy active living that students in grade 9 have. But we made a change to make things a bit more personalized. So we focus on personal fitness goals and health and wellness. Students still have some team-based sports. It's a bit of a smaller class strategically, so students can spend a bit more time in the gymnasium, but also in the workout room, working a bit more on fitness goals. I will note that computer science at the grade 11 level is required for students who are looking at taking it in grade 12. But if a student doesn't take computer science in their grade 10 year, they can still take the grade 11 computer science as a grade 11 student as well. I'm just going to point out that economics is not a requirement for students to be taking any of the business courses we offer at the grade 11 or 12 level, just like our entrepreneurship course in grade 9 is not a requirement for students to be taking additional business courses in later years. I say this because if you are a grade 9 student and you did not happen to take entrepreneurship, you are still certainly able to be taking economics as a grade 10 student. We often have questions about advanced placement, and this is a bit more relevant for our grade 11 and 12 students. Most universities like students to be taking APs if they are taking them, waiting to take in their grades 11 and 12 year. But I know that we often have questions from students to try to understand exactly what the AP program is and how it's utilized for admission. So AP is run through the College Board. You may know them because they are the same organization that runs the SAT. They are university level examinations. And which is why we really do focus on grade 11 and 12 students, although grade 9s and 10s can take advantage of the program. Students who achieve a 4 or a 5 on their exam can actually be using that for a first year credit. And students would be taking AP at the same time as usually their grade 12 material and not in lieu of. So students would be taking, let's just say, for example, grade 12 biology in their regular course day. They would be attending the class, and then they would be preparing outside of class time with the AP biology teacher and preparing independently on their own a bit as well for an examination that they would write in May. So they would actually write the SMLS examination. That would be used primarily for admissions, no matter where the student is applying, whether that be internationally or domestically. And then they would also be writing an examination, again, a university level examination on this material in May of the year that they're engaged in that AP work. This is why most of our students are taking APs when they're in grade 12. Although if it is advantageous or strategically advantageous for students to be taking them early for their admissions, that's in conversation and consultation with me, because it does require quite a bit of independent study on the student's part. In order to learn quite a bit of that grade 12 material on top of the AP. There is absolutely no requirement for students to be in AP courses should they not wish to partake in that. I do encourage students at the grade 12 level to consider an AP or two to better prepare them for university level study, but it is not a requirement for their OSSD, so no requirement by the Ministry of Education, and it is not an internal SMLS requirement. Typically, students who are looking to self-study, we would not be looking for any grade 9 to write more than 1, any grade 10 to write more than 2, any grade 11 more than 3, and any grade 12 usually more than 4. There can be that can be personalized, of course, depending on the student's goals as well. We offer 9 APs, and those are listed here on the right-hand side. Students who would like to write an exam that we do not offer the course for can still sit the exam at SMLS, but would study entirely independently on their own. I'm going to pass it over to Mr. Brims, who'll just walk us through the course selection process and timeline.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. So we've got about 10 minutes left, so we'll just kind of breeze through the sort of course selection process timeline and next steps. We're in January already, so Ms. Bryant has met with MS8 students and SS9 students just to outline what the course selection process looks like, what sort of options are available. We've shared the course calendar with families and students as well, so they can begin to explore the offerings. Ms. Bryant, I'm not sure if the timeline is showing on the screen. There we go. And we can click ahead a few places till we get to February. So by just after the Family Day weekend in February, all families will have received a confirmed course selection that their daughter has made. And that confirms course selection. What we do is provide students with an opportunity just to revisit that a little bit later in the school year. If there's any changes or program pathway planning ideation that has shifted, we can help support course changes pending that they meet with our schedule. And then in September, just before school starts, we actually share the timetable, so where the course falls, what day of the cycle, who the teacher is, all of that more granular, specific information right in advance of the start of school. In terms of sort of next steps, the course calendar, again, is your best sort of spot to start looking at course descriptions. You can also speak to teachers and Ms. Bryant and myself for information. This week on Thursday, we will be meeting with all grade 9 students during advisor time and actually completing course selection with them. So again, that's just an initial course selection choice that they'll be making. This will happen as well in early February with current grade 8 students. And that helps get our timetable process moving once we see what courses students have selected. So a few other considerations just to think about as students are beginning to chart out their next year. Academics critically important, obviously, but thinking about what else complements my academic sort of pursuits for the next year. So what co-curricular options am I thinking of trying out? Am I currently engaged in activities outside of school? We have a lot of students who are subscribed in music, gymnastics, tennis, golf, dance, competitive soccer, competitive volleyball, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on and on. So thinking about how that also fits into your schedule. We mentioned the community service hours that are now being increasingly recognized by the Ministry of Education of Ontario in a formal way. So something else to think about, maybe if you do have time or scope, weaving into your planning process. The Duke of Ed Award, we didn't talk about too much, but that is something supported through our global citizenship pathway program. All grade 9 students who go on our Arrow Han camping trip to Algonquin Park have the opportunity to complete their Duke of Ed Bronze as part of that process. So most of the hard work is actually done just in them doing the trip, and then it's just about documenting their learning from that trip to attain a Duke of Ed Bronze. Leadership opportunities are abound at our school. We just had two grade 9 students who were recognized, and you'll see this in the next Millie memo, and have qualified for the junior public speaking and debate championships to be held in Vancouver later this year. Nicole, do you want to jump in there and clarify if I messed that up? I think that's two of our grade 9 students that we just learned over the weekend. So they will be future leaders of our public speaking program, certainly. Anything else on that, Nicole?
No, this is it was very exciting. So over 50 competitors, and two of our students qualified for nationals. And we also have a current grade 12 student who's mentoring those students, who's also going to nationals in Winnipeg in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
So lots, and that's just in one area, our public speaking and debate. We have, team captains, robotics leads, those in the production who are leading, which is happening a little bit later in February or early in February. So lots of opportunities for our students to get leadership opportunities in our all girls context at SMLS. A summer enrichment guide is something we've been sharing in the Millie memo, so that's something else to check out, just to kind of help skill build over the summer. And we always just caution families around external credits. If you're thinking of taking a summer course or taking an additional course that's for credit for an Ontario Secondary School Diploma credit, please let us know so that we can provide guidance on whether or not that is advisable. There's a lot of disreputable fly-by-night sort of credit mills that do offer Ontario secondary school credits, and we wouldn't want your daughter to be disadvantaged, not just in terms of her learning, but also in terms of how increasingly Canadian universities and those abroad are starting to look at those credits. So lots to consider as you think about your next academic year. So we've got about a couple of minutes left. If there's any questions, we'd be happy to share. There's a question here about Millie memos. Are they shared with incoming students who are not currently at SMLS? I don't believe they are, but we can get that information to new families, certainly. It's just sort of a newsletter that goes out to our community every 2 weeks with updates about what's happening at the school. So if you reach out to us directly, that's from an anonymous attendee, we can certainly share that information with you. May also be available on our website, the Millie memos that have been recently posted. I believe those would be available there.
I'll be sure for any new families to send along the summer enrichment guide as well. So when I reach out to meet one-on-one. So one of the questions is, does SMLS offer Canadian history in the summer? We do not presently offer it in the summer. We really think that our programming for Canadian history for our grade 10 students is quite strong. It's really helpful in building additional competency in reading and writing. So personally, I would really encourage students to continue in our programming and taking Canadian history in their grade 10 year to better prepare them for grade 11 English and some additional social sciences. So it shouldn't be just that we are looking to take courses in the summer to give more opportunity for electives, but really making sure that you're taking courses to extend and expand your skills. Yeah. And if there's any other questions, we could quickly take maybe another. Just give a moment. Just as a note, for our current SMLS students, I've already met with most of our grade 9 students. There's still a few more that are going to be meeting with me over the next few days before Thursday morning's course selection. And then for current grade 8 students, I will begin meeting with them early next week into early February. And for our new students who will be joining us, I will be reaching out to schedule a time to have a Zoom or in-person meeting, depending on the best availability for both of us. Mhm.
I've just typed our emails in the chat there. They're also available readily to you if you're already a member of our community. But mbrims@smls.on.ca and bryant@smls.on.ca. Please feel free to reach out to us anytime with any questions. We'd be happy to get back to you. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. And yes, there's a question here. We will be reaching out to new families about course selection to support that process if you're new to the school. And we look forward to working with